Hello, it's Allison from Carpe and Carpe Diem, and today I'm going to be telling you what I learned in my first month of yoga teacher training. This is not going to be me trying to create some sort of online teacher training course. I'm just going to be telling you sort of what you can expect if you are considering doing teacher training yourself. Some teacher trainings are like 1 week long and they're very intense. Mine is split into 7.5 weekends over the course of 3 months. So if you enjoy this, then I'll do the other couple months. The theme of the first weekend was getting to know you in the practice. So we talked about sort of the basics of presenting and how to be kind of a good basic teacher, I guess, in that way. And then we also talked about the basic principles for the studio that I'm taking it at. I'm taking it at Yoga Innovations. I'll leave some information about that in the description. But it is a power flow hot yoga class. We talked sort of briefly about kind of all the things that we are going to learn about later. The first day was kind of just getting to know the other people in the class. There's 13 people in the class. And then the second day we talked about these sort of basic things. And then that night we learned 5 or 6 different poses and really broke down the specific alignment of each of these poses. This is not one we learned the first day, but we would break down specific poses with their alignment, modifications, benefits, and specific cues that we could give while we're teaching. And then we taught those few poses to our small little groups, and then we taught to the whole class of teacher trainers, which is 13 people, on Sunday morning. Teacher training also includes on Saturday a practice taught by one of our teachers, and then on Sunday includes actually 2.5 hours of us practicing yoga, and then an hour of us teaching yoga, and not too much sort of informational stuff on the Sunday, just sort of a lot of practicing yoga. So I want to talk about the series that we're learning for a minute. I hear a lot of people's complaint that when they get out of yoga teacher training, they know one series and then they can't teach anything else because they've just learned this one series. And we are learning just one series, and at first that scared me and disappointed me because I had heard these other people's complaints and I was like, oh my gosh, am I only going to be able to teach this one series? But here's the thing. You could teach that same exact one series for the next 10 years, and most likely none of your students would notice because you're going to, hold them in a pose for a little bit longer. You're going to say some different kind of fluff. You're going to put some different music in the background or whatever. It's going to be different every time. But also, they're teaching us how to be creative within this series. So here is the series that we're learning. I'm sure you can't see it. I don't know why I've just shown that to you. But it's broken into sections. You could change some of the sections just as long as you have all of those sections. So that was another thing that we kind of talked about, is that you need to have some twisting in your class. You need to have some flowing in your class if you're doing power flow. You need to have some resting postures. You need to have some stretches at the end. Every class needs a shavasana. So there's these basic things, these building blocks you have to have. You can cut out some of the things as long as you put in other ones, because there's a bunch of other balancing poses that they haven't taught us that I could put in those ones instead of the balancing poses that are in this series, if that makes sense. And I hope that if you're going to take teacher training, that they will teach you in that similar way, so that you have this one practice that you do know really well, but you also have the concept of how to get creative and put in other chunks in order to make it different if the need arises. Well, that was pretty much the first weekend. And then at the end of the day on Sunday, we meet with our mentor groups, and my group has 4 people, and our mentor is someone who's gone through the teacher training before, and they will talk to us about how it went, maybe give us some tips, some advice, just to allow us some space to chat that isn't in such a big group. She also gives us homework, specific podcasts they want us to listen to, or they want us to write a little essay about some other form of yoga. And because our weekends are spread out, in between we are supposed to take classes at that studio. We have unlimited classes at that studio. We're also supposed to take 4 outside classes not per week, just total, to get some experience in things other than power flow. And we are supposed to observe 2 classes at that studio. There's a lot of homework involved in this, but there are people doing this who have a full-time job and kids, and they're still rocking it. So I don't want to discourage anyone by saying it's so much work. It is a lot of work, but it's possible to do it while you have children and or a full-time job. So the theme of the second weekend was anatomy, and we mostly focused on learning the proper names for body parts, on building basic alignment of poses, and pretty much that's it. After that first weekend, on Friday nights, we read a sutra, and so this is my sutra book. I wouldn't actually recommend this one, but this is the one I got because it was the cheapest, and we just pick a sutra out of here, and we read it and explain what we think about it to the class, and then we go over some more of those basic alignment postures like I was telling you about before. I showed you that little diagram in my book. And then that's Friday night. It's only 2 hours. And then on Saturday we come in, we take a class, and then we talked about the anatomy and stuff, like I said, and then we teach a little series ourselves. And then on Sunday we come in and we teach to the whole group, and then I take a power flow class for 90 minutes, and then we take meditation for 30 minutes, and then I take a restorative class for 60 minutes, and then I finally meet with my mentor group and go home. So yeah, that was the first month, and I've got a lot more training to do, and I've got a lot more that I could potentially share with you. If you like this, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also let me know what else you want to see. Do you want to see me try to teach a little segment of the class? Do you want to hear, I don't know, more in depth about any one area? And I knew I wanted to make this video because yoga is such a big part of my life, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to say, so I'm just starting with this, and then hopefully you guys will give me some awesome feedback, and we can all learn what we want to learn. So, carpe and carpe diem. Bye!